So The Rock is on Buddy's list. The Rock is on my list. The Rock is on your list. The Rock is on our chat's list. The real question that we need to ask the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling podcast is: can any of us here smell what The Rock is
It
cooking?
doesn't matter if you smell.
Oh my goodness, it doesn't.
But it's things like that. It doesn't matter.
We need to talk about that.
Tickle.
That's how the saying goes.
What? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, tickle, tickle. I think, Rick, if be concerned if he ever comes to you talking about tickle, tickle.
Hey,
I don't.
All right.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
At the hour and a half mark, I think we've gotten a little.
Before we get into it, there's been a little controversy. I've come to find out, so I'm gonna have to address it real quick. Apparently, last week I said some things about our new WWE, the United States champion Logan Paul, that upset some people. So I'm gonna set the record straight. Logan Paul as a guy, not a fan. As a wrestler, I can honestly say, and I've said it before, he hasn't had a match yet that hasn't been just an absolute banger. So as a wrestler, I've got respect for the guy. Like, I don't understand. He's got all this stuff going on, and I don't understand all these people that just run out and try to support everything he does. And they try to get their prime drinks all the time, and that's good.
Wheelhouse. So all I can say is Los Crudos better bring everything they've got, because this is going to be a fight.
I'll say I'm pretty sure I've only heard of like one Texas death match, and didn't David Arquette almost die?
Did you just talk about David Arquette?
Lord.
Did you bring David Arquette into a wrestling podcast?
I said, didn't he almost die?
So again, there will possibly be a table there that might or might not have something to do with the match. Come out and see us. Want to say thank you again to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the boys for being here tonight. I want to say thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for being here. With these guys every time.
We're there.
Okay.
Really?
I was gonna say apparently there's some kind of football game going on tonight, huh?
Thaddeus and Elise,
I hate to see
they owe me and Malia dinner now, so get ready.
W right there.
So this sounds like it's a pretty solid
We
Raw.
appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, and it was a great Raw. Like, it was, I kind of took a break from wrestling for a little bit, but I started getting into it again this Thanksgiving, and
Having the Macho Man Chris Wolf out there was very good for me. There was something that I really wish Little Guapo could have been there for, because it's a throwback, in my opinion, to the Attitude Era days, because said trash can that was being used to beat upon Logan Knight got placed on Logan Knight, and they were taking turns just beating him up in the trash can, and it was great.
That's definitely.
You don't have to. Please just let me finish the conversation. I don't want to do this. I don't.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to night 4 of the Not Your Average Mark Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Guapo. This is my co-host, the littlest of Guapos. It's going to be a good night. What can I say? I am so excited about this weekend. As you can see, so is he. Of course, I'm talking about Squared Circle Pro Spring Break, the literal version, this Saturday night, March 23rd, Jake's Back Room. I cannot stress enough. how you need to get there early, because you have an option to get there at 4:30. The doors start at 4:30 to meet and greet with two WWE legends and Hall of Famers. Of course, I'm talking about Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine. I'm so stoked for this. I can't even tell you. Man, it's going to be cool. Those doors are at 4:30. General admission doors at 5:30. First bell at 6 o'clock. Tickets $10 at the door. You're never going to find something as much action as you're going to get from this show for $10 anywhere else. I assure you of that. Before we get too far in there, I do want to give a few thank yous. I want to say thank you to Ross and the boys from Labor 12 for our intro outro music. Track's called Head Rush, the album's called Monsters. Make sure you're checking that out anywhere you get your streaming music. Want to say thank you to American Legacy for our Not Your Average Mark merchandise. You never know, you might see this little guy in some Not Your Average Mark gear soon. Big thank you to Joe and the guys from American Legacy. And I want to say thank you to all of our guests so far this week. We've had Nikki Chase, we've had Ryan Justice, we've had Stonewall Remsen, and we've got a very special guest tonight that I can't wait to bring in. Before we do, let's go ahead and get into this card, because what a card it is. Man, oh man, I'm excited. So our first match is a mystery tag team grudge match. Mr. Gold Girls in Glory himself, Bam Bam Malone and Nolan Phillips. You heard me right. Nolan Phillips stepping into the ring against Ryan Justice and a mystery partner. Now, if you've watched Nolan Phillips in the last few shows, you know as well as I do, there's any number of people in that locker room that are ready to drop him on his head repeatedly. So it's interesting to me to know who it's going to be. When we had Ryan on a couple of days ago, Rick in the chat saying that it's going to be Ryan's decision. Like, Rick's got nothing to do with it. I'm looking over at the chat. J-Rev made it in. Says, "What's up, Gramps?" Hey, it's Pawpaw. Get it right. Get it right. I want to say what's up to Daddy Boss 74. What's up to Rick? Glad you guys are here tonight. Like I said, I'm interested to see who it is. Rick said he's heard some rumblings. Rick, I've got you on tomorrow. I may have to try to get some of them rumblings out of you. But there's any number of people back there, like I said, that would be glad to step up and wrestle alongside Ryan Justice. He's such a great dude and pushes West Texas so much that he's got the respect of the locker room. So I'm looking forward to see who wins that match. We've got a singles match, the Gladiator Bobby Venom returning after being retired for 2 years. Now, if you are a talent like Bobby Venom, and talent is not even the word, what do you do when you come back? You get your first match back against the one and only Nobi Bryant. This match is going to be a banger from start to finish. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this one. I couldn't tell you who was going to win this one if I wanted to, but I can tell you that it's going to be a fire match start to finish. Rick in the chat saying that Bobby Venom is a former Squared Circle Pro champion. So, he's no stranger to a Squared Circle Pro ring, and same with Nobi Bryant. He's no stranger to the ring, and it's going to be a great match. So you'll definitely want to be there for that one. We have a tag team grudge match, certified wild card, that of course being Draven Reeves and Jeb Bingham versus Code, Logan Knight and Rob Boris. Grudge match is the right word here. Definitely no love lost between these two teams. If you've seen if you're at Collision Course in January, you can see that Jeb ain't having it. He wants no parts of Rob Boris. He wants no parts of Logan Knight. He is not happy with them. It's going to be a fight. We can call it a grudge match all day, but what it's going to be is a fight. And I'm not going to lie, I'm all about it. I can't wait to see how that one turns out. Of course, Team Code getting their first round bye in the tag team tournament. So this isn't a part of the tag team tournament. This is a grudge match. Jay Conrad Photography making his way in. Josh, what's up, brother? Rick saying this low key could be the match of the night. I agree. Absolutely, I could agree. But speaking of the tag team tournament, we've got a couple of round one matches. We've got the Art of Royalty, that being King Kizzy and Donovan Pierce, going up against Los Espectaculares, that being Manolo Dragonfly and Payasito Jr. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The matchup in this is what I love about this match. You've got King Kizzy, you've got Donovan Pierce. They're they control the ring. They're big dudes, but they're so agile in the ring. And you put that against Los Espectaculares, Manolo Dragonfly, a bit of a powerhouse, and then you've got Payasito Jr., who is all over the place. Like, I don't know if any of you ever saw the Napster Bad cartoon way back in the day. I know I'm dating myself with that, but to say he reminds me of Lars is not an understatement. Like, he is all over the place. He'll be on the top rope, in the ring, out of the ring, crawling up around your head. He's everywhere. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when these different styles clash in the middle of the ring. Our second tag team tournament match going to be Pure Genetics, that being the product James Derrick and awesome Austin Jordan going up against the Riot. Reggie Lincoln and our guest last night, Stonewall Rimson. And Stonewall Rimson making it very clear that he's going to go in there, he's going to take care of business. Reggie's going to do what he's got to do. He's got a lariat waiting for both of those guys. Rick in the chat saying big meaty men slapping meat. You know, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. All of these guys, big dudes, and it's going to be a big guy fight, and I'm about it. I can't wait. Stonewall said he's got a lariat waiting for these guys. I'm waiting to see it. Our third match in the tag team tournament is going to be TJ Slater and Nate Collins going against the Living Proof Justin Taylor and Marquise Jackson. This is going to be a good match. I mean, anytime you put Justin Taylor in the ring, you know you're getting a good match. But when you also have Marquise Jackson, TJ Slater, Nate Collins, all of these guys, absolute superstars in their own right. But the thing that gets me about this match is all the personal issues that have happened with these four people. You know, you've got Justin Taylor teaming with Marquise Jackson, which he's done before, but he's also gone against Marquise Jackson. He's been with Nate Collins. He's gone against Nate Collins. Of course, Nate Collins turning on him is the reason they went against each other. And then, of course, he and TJ Slater have a bit of a history past as well. So I'm interested to see if the personal issues in this match, how big a factor they play. We've got King Cochino in the chat saying after training with Payasito, he's going to show out. I hope so. I want to see it, man. And then Rick saying super grudge bout disguised as a tag team tournament bout. That's a fair way to put it. I agree with that. We've got a singles match. Nathan Estrada going up against your friendly neighborhood Vato, or as of late, your unfriendly neighborhood Vato, Emilio Guzman. Emilio just in a dark place right now. He's very focused. He's very aggressive. There's no more really showing out for the crowd anymore. He's very focused on his matches and very focused on getting that win, and just the aggression that he's started using in the ring. Nathan Estrada going to have his hands full, but Nathan Estrada no slouch on his own. Like, Emilio's not just going to walk away with this, because Nathan Estrada is a hell of a superstar himself. The one question here is, if you've got Emilio Guzman in the ring, you've got JC Bravo. Tio is going to be outside the ring, and I wonder if that's going to play a factor. And then, of course, we've got some matches that come straight from the desk of our new women's GM, Medusa, and she is just absolutely killing it with the women's division. You know, all the flowers in the world to her, because she is just killing it. Listen to this lineup for our ladies' matches. We've got a fatal four-way. Aaron Aris versus Morgan Mercy versus Nikki Chase, who was our guest Monday night. And then we've got an opponent that's to be determined. I've tried to get some information on this. I can't get Rick to give me anything. Made it very clear. I'll find out when everybody finds out. And that includes the three ladies I mentioned before that. They're going to be in the ring and find out who it is. Yes, Rick, I know you know who it is. Now you need to tell all of us who it is. But no, it's going to be a great match, because each of these ladies was something to prove. Erin Harris making her return to Squared Circle Pro after being gone for a while. Morgan Mercy, anytime she steps in the ring, it's a fight. She's there to prove that she is the fighter. Nikki Chase wanting to prove to everyone why she belongs in Squared Circle Pro and why she is the trophy case. And all three of these ladies waiting to find out who that fourth opponent's going to be. We also have a women's tag team match. Nova Phoenix and Skylar Slice going up against Victoria Mosh and a debuting Kay Dabber. I can't say enough. If you haven't done it yet, go to YouTube, watch some film on Kay Dabber. Kay Dabber is just absolutely insane in the ring. And you take the energy and the craziness that she brings to the ring and match that with with Victoria Mosh, and that's going to be crazy. Of course, Nova Phoenix and Skylar Slice, both of them tagging together for a while now. There's some good chemistry there. Rick saying in the chat, who's going to beat Skylar and Nova? They could beat some of the male teams. I don't disagree with that. And if they wanted to beat up Code, I'd be all right with that. I'm just saying. You know, if they wanted to get a practice sparring round in with Chris Watson, I'd be all right with that too. You know, if you want to make that happen, I'm not going to be upset about it. But it's going to be a good match, no question about that. Our final match, the Triple Threat Women's West Texas Championship match. Our West Texas Women's Champion, Misty Mark, stepping into the ring against Olivia Vegas and Reza Clark. Of course, the Divas of Destruction have been a thorn in Misty Mark's side from the jump. And she's made her thoughts about them very, very clear. And the funny part of this is, you know, they're going to team together and try to take out Misty, but this isn't a 2-on-1 match. This is a triple threat. At the end of the match, there can only be one champion. You know, for me, if I had to do it, I'm going to put my money on Misty Marks. But both the Divas of Destruction trying to make sure that doesn't happen. I just wonder if it comes to a point where they're against each other, having teamed together so well, how's that going to work out for them? Rick in the chat saying there can be only one. This is going to be the Highlander match. Yeah, I dig it. We've got a 5-on-2 grudge match. Lucas Scratch and his Gallery of the Damned, that being Thomas Silva, Alice Dare, JKM, Poison, and Colt, going up against our boys in Downfall Cathedral. Ryan Riven, Ramrock. This match coming about because at Collision Course in January, Ryan Riven running on his own. Ramrock couldn't be there that day, and they all jumped in the ring. All of the Gallery of the Damned jumped in the ring, tried to take him on. Well, Ramrock is going to be there this time, and I don't think anybody's got any question. Downfall Cathedral has made it clear from the get-go. They don't want to win a match. They don't want to win a couple of matches. They want to win the whole damn thing, and my money's on them. I mean, these guys are there to fight. So it's going to be interesting to see how well they take on 5 other people in the middle of the ring. Of course, we have our Squared Circle Pro heavyweight champion, Sam Stackhouse, putting the belt on the line. And not just putting the belt on the line, but doing it in a no-holds-barred match. This is Sam Stackhouse's happy place. And I've said it a couple of nights now, and I'm still racking my brain. Who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what I think I'm going to do today? I think I'm going to challenge Sam Stackhouse to a no-holds-barred match. Like, who does that? I'm really interested to see who steps up to that challenge, because it's a mystery opponent. We don't know who it's going to be. And the fact that it's a no-holds-barred match, there's no way the action stays in the ring. They're going to fight in the ring. They're going to fight on the floor. They're going to fight by the bar. They're going to go out to Bahama Bucks. We may go down to Copper Caboose and have a drink. I don't know. The fight's going to be everywhere, and I'm all about it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see who steps up. It's going to be a hell of a fight, and I cannot wait. And, of course, we have the match that everybody's been talking about, Bariqua Warfare. What do you do when you have 2 groups of people that just can't stand each other? You put them in a cage and just let them tear each other apart, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. You've got Team La Migra, El Gringo, Charlie 50, Diablo Blanco, and your Squared Circle Pro Heck Yeah Radio iPay-per-view champion, Chris Watson. Me and him, one of these days, you know what? Give it a couple years. He's going to take you out. That's what's going to happen, Chris Watson. I'm putting money on that right now. This is your next heavyweight champion right here. This is going to be your Heck Yeah Radio iPay-per-view champion. Anyway, Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there. Lamigra going up against Team Rivera, that being, of course, Brian Rage Rivera, Baby Samoa, Eluvio, and our guest this evening, the one and only OTB, the woman who wakes up and chooses violence every single day, Lillith Blood. Let's go ahead and bring her in. What's up, Lillith?
Hey,
Welcome to the show. Glad you could be on tonight.
thank you, thank you. We have a very handsome new co-host tonight, I see.
He's going to take the job from me. I already know. Well, of course, welcome to the show. So glad you could make it on tonight. And Barriqua Warfare, this is going to be insane. For those who don't know about the buildup that this has come from, let everybody know kind of where this started with you and Gringo.
Gringo and I have worked in the same promotions since about 2008. We have never gotten along. We've never united against a common enemy. We've never been on the same page about anything ever. We are absolutely oil and water, and we don't mix. And every so often the universe crosses our paths again, and here we are. I mean, since 2008, that's a really long time
It is.
to fight with somebody. But I can't stand him, and he can't stand me. He thinks that I don't know my place as a woman, and that's just not acceptable. So
Well, and I'm glad you put that up. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but it was put out there on social media, so I figure I should probably say something about it. There was a post put out today by Gringo addressing your husband, telling him not to worry because he's going to make sure you know your place and get in the kitchen and make sandwiches. I'm passing the message along. That's not from Guapo. That is absolutely from Gringo.
Oh, I saw it. And while later on this evening, I have a few more things I'm going to say on my own, I would like to say that he needs to watch out how often he throws that name out there of my husband, because he's like Beetlejuice. If you say it too many times, you're probably going to have to deal with him.
I'm waiting because you know the idea of him coming back. I feel like the whole chat's fixing to start saying his name.
Please don't do that, please. I'm that right now. That weapon is collecting dust, and that's how it needs to stay. But
we actually have Damien in the chat right now. Damien, what's up, brother? Glad to hear from you. See, we said his name and he showed up.
Yep, I only said it once. So, you know.
Well, there's definitely no love lost between you and Gringo, but when you put a group like that together, Gringo, Charlie 50, Diablo Blanco, and Chris Watson, as he's recently become part of the group. I mean, there is a lot of talent there, and they do know each other well, and they are a force to be reckoned with. I know you have Brian and Baby Samoa and Eluvio on team with you, but how do you prepare going into this match, knowing what they're capable of, and you're in a cage?
The thing about Lamigra is you can't ever prepare. You really can't, because as much as I hate them, all of them, and it doesn't matter which carnation, because this is like the 5th version of Lamigra that I've fought. Gringo is the only constant. You can't. You really just have to be able to think on your feet and hope that maybe you can get ahead of them, because I guarantee you Gringo is 5 steps ahead of you. And there's no way to prepare for that. You just gotta hope that you can stay on your feet long enough to make it count.
Well, and I just wonder, being the kind of match that it is, if we're going to see, if we're going to have a little friend of yours that's over your shoulder there join the ranks.
Are you talking about Babs?
I am definitely talking about Babs.
My beat a bitch stick?
That's the one. I don't know. I'll have to ask Rick about this because he's in the chat. Are we going to see like is weapons a thing here, or what are we looking at there? I do want to say that I know Rage Rivera, Baby Samoa, they have had really good chemistry as Island Rage. They've been wrestling as a tag team for a little bit, and Eluvio recently graduating from Lubbock Pro Wrestling 101, and congrats to him. And I can't wait to see him get in this as well. What is your experience with these guys? Like, you're going into this cage match teaming with them. What's your experience with them?
I've actually never gotten to work much in the. Of course, Elu's so new that I haven't worked with him at all. But Brian and Samoa, I've worked on shows with for a really long time, but never really spent any time in the ring with. But I was there for Brian's first match. I've known that kid a long time, and I've watched him come a long way. And he's always been very determined. So I hope that, everybody's worried about if we're ready for Lamigra and how we're going to contend with Lamigra. I hope Lamigra's ready for us.
I've had that exact same thought. I see all the things that Gringo puts out on social medias, and he talks a really good game. I'm not going to lie. Some of that stuff's pretty good. But when it comes down to it, when it's face to face, them versus you guys, I can't even imagine the animosity going into this. Yeah. Like, I know that Rage and 50, they've had their issues. And of course, Chris Watson and everybody.
Yeah.
Have issues. Myself included.
Yeah, people don't like Malibu very much.
I'm not going to say that at some point when he comes out, there might be a Malibu Barbie chant, but there might be a Malibu Barbie chant. I'm just saying.
Every time I see him in the do-rag, all I think about is that goofball in Malibu's Most Wanted. So
I can see it. I can definitely see it. Looking over at the chat, Rick says weapons are absolutely legal in this match. So
well, and I love her. She's a great accessory, but I don't need a weapon. Well, I am a weapon. I don't need a weapon.
Right here. Last time I checked, the weapons you have are rated E for everyone.
That's right. Thelma and Louise, baby.
Oh, looks like we're going to turn around and say hi to the world. Let's go, buddy. Well, look, see, he's already trying to beat me up. I'm telling you, this is going to be your next champion right here. Future champion. So what is your mindset going into this particular match? I know we've talked about you and Gringo. We've talked about how you are with your teammates, but from coming out the curtain to making it to the cage, how does Lillith Blood prepare for that?
A lot of profanity and caffeine.
You know what? I dig that.
That is absolutely how I get through any situation. A lot of profanity and a lot of Mountain Dew.
All right. So whoever that's watching and listening right now that does shirts, caffeine and profanity needs to be a shirt immediately. That's I love it.
I do all my own stuff. I could totally do a caffeine and profanity shirt.
Yep, that needs to be a shirt. Caffeine and profanity. I love it.
I said earlier, it's the only way to prepare for Lamigra is expect the unexpected. So you almost have to go into it with no expectations whatsoever and just hyper aware, which I'm good at thanks to years of trauma and PTSD. So, because people don't give Gringo enough credit for how calculated he can be. He is a planner.
He has a great mind for the game. I mean,
yeah,
he knows this business. He knows it well. And after doing it since 2008, he knows you really well.
Yeah.
I do want to ask, or before we do, I'll talk about Rick for a second. He says, A combination of Puerto Rican and Samoan tempers mixed with the hunger of a rookie ready to make an impact, and the OTB who taps out boys. Lemigra needs to be ready. And Rick, that's the best way to put it. I mean, this is such a collection. And the fact that it's like, I can't stress the fact that this is a cage match. Like, I can't stress that enough. There's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. It is a cage match. So if you happen to get your hands on Gringo, he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah. There's no if, it's when.
You know, if you happen to get your hands on Chris Watson, I'm good with that too. I mean,
well, if I'm lucky, at some point I'll have my hands on all of them, and then their face will meet the side of the cage. That's another reason that we don't need weapons. We're in a giant weapon.
That's true. And people don't look at it that way enough. That cage is a weapon on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't give. I've helped put that cage together, so I know that there's no give to that cage.
I have a scar from the last time that I worked in the cage when Damien and I did the cage with Chaos at Birthiversary a couple years ago. I have scars. So.
Well, I'm going to step away from your match for just a second. Look, he's having bad dreams about Chris Watson. I can see it right now.
Everybody has bad dreams about Chris Watson.
Rick throwing it out there, the match can only be won by submission. See, I didn't know that. This particular match only able to be won by submission. So, Rick, I appreciate that piece of information. That brings about another question. What does Lillith Blood have in the repertoire for submission?
I have used the same submission since probably 2008, maybe 2009. I call it the off to bed because I'll put him to sleep. I use a rear naked choke, but that's not the only one. That's just my favorite.
I like it. The off to bed. So
I've also thought about calling it silent LPM because it'll knock you the F out.
Call it the Benadryl.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like the Benadryl? Okay, we won't call it that. My bad. So I do want to ask, this is stepping away from your match for just a minute. I made mention earlier of our women's GM Medusa and what she's doing with the women's division. Now we know you can rock it with the meanest of men, but I wanted to get your opinion as a female wrestler on what Medusa's doing and the number of females involved in these shows now.
Part of the reason that I got onto the men's roster back in 2008 was because there wasn't a lot of female competition at the time. And the girls that we were able to contact were either very, very expensive and not worth what they were charging for what they were giving in the ring, or they were very flaky. And it is such a different landscape now, and I am so here for it. I love it. And there are some seriously talented chicks out there, and the ones that Rick and Medusa have been working with, like, I'm amazed. And there are times where, and I've talked to Rick about it, I'll never say never. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm not saying it won't. There's some people that I really would love to tie up with. And so I'm not going to say that wouldn't happen, but I love seeing what's happening and what's being built, and that women are really being taken seriously. But not only that, but a lot of them are working hard to be taken seriously. They're not just there to be. I remember way back when we brought a couple girls into SCP, and it was a show that I wasn't at. But a lot of people after the fact were like, were those girls strippers? Because that was kind of like what they did was way more like bra and panties style stuff than it was wrestling. And to see these chicks throw down the way that I've been doing, like, it's just awesome. It's awesome, and I love it.
Well, and it's very exciting. And I want to look at the chat for just a second. Damian Blood, OTB versus Trish Stratus. I'm down. Let's make that happen. Internet, do your thing. Make this a thing. Make it happen.
Oh, I love him, but I was thinking like girls that are actually working at SCP. Like dude, I think Morgan Mercy and I could tear the house down.
Oh, no question.
I'd also really love to tie up with Kay Daver. They are freaking awesome, and
I've been
I
watching
feel like
her film, and she is insane in the ring.
whether you put us against one another, she's almost someone I feel like I could work with in a way that I don't normally want to do. But yeah, there are so many out there, and I love that we're kind of starting to kick down the door of intergender wrestling.
Absolutely.
Like really more so than what we ever did back in the day. It's becoming more accepted, and as long as it's done right, I think it's amazing.
Looking over the chat, want to say what's up to Mike. Glad you can make it in, Mikey. Better late than never, right? That's what I always say. Damien throwing out one that I would love to see in Mickey Knuckles. If I remember,
I didn't talk about her because I talked about her last time I was on.
I was going to say the last time we talked, that was your I'm ready to have that fight match.
Yeah.
And it's one I'd love to see. And speaking about the women's division, of course, in July, Rick and Medusa together putting on Equal Rights and Lefts, an all-female show. And from what I understand, and Rick can correct me if I'm wrong about this, we're talking, of course, all-female talent, female refs, female ring announcer, female commentary. It's an all-female show, and I think it is absolutely amazing. So
I'm stoked for it. There's never been anything done on that level in Lubbock. It's been forever since there's been any kind of all women's anything around here. There was a benefit show way back when that a few of us remember that was an all women's breast cancer benefit. But other than that, like I love that the focus here is on the women now, because there's a lot of bad bitches out there that really deserve way more than just being stuck in the second match of the show as filler, because that's what women's wrestling is supposed to be.
Well, the ceiling that's been broken in West Texas with Squared Circle Pro is awesome. I mean, only promotion in West Texas that has a full women's roster, full women's division. Well, they do. He's telling Papa not to talk so loud. That's what that is. Looking at the chat, Damien says, can we get Damo versus OTB? Damo ain't ready. Damo ain't ready for that.
Ooh, that it's because I think that match would be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but I think I would feel every single bit of it the next day.
Well, and Daddy Boss 74 saying that needs to be a bull rope match.
Ooh, I've never done one of those.
See, internet.
It's on my bucket list.
Internet needs to do their thing. Like Seraph said, we need more cowbell.
We always need more cowbell.
Now, big things happening with Squared Circle Pro, and you having come up the same time I did. How excited are you that Tito Santana and Greg the Hammer Valentine are going to be in the building?
I'm such a nerd. I help with SCP production behind the scenes. And when we got the email from Tito, I kind of sat there for a minute and just kind of, freaked out a little bit, because it was really cool that I had Tito Santana. I never, if you'd have told me 15 years ago that was going to happen, I'd have called you a liar. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm so excited for it.
I've been watching wrestling from his size, and one of my favorite things that I remember watching was Tito and Greg going at it for the IC belt. Like, it was one of the greatest feuds ever.
Yeah.
It was. I'll show you later. It'll be okay. But just the fact that they're going to be there, and the fact that people are going to get the chance to meet and greet. I'm sure we're going to have some of our wrestlers in line for that meet and greet, because
Oh
They're
yeah.
such legends of the ring, and just to get to talk to them for a minute and get some of their knowledge, get that rub. I mean, that's big deal.
It's always awesome anytime that we have anyone on the show that has any of the legends, because you can always learn. If you're paying attention, you can always learn something from them. And it's advice that you may not get, or maybe you would get it somewhere else, but you wouldn't listen to it or put as much weight in it as you do when you hear it coming from somebody that you know has been there and done that, like a Greg or a Tito.
So we've got Jay Conrad Photography. Josh saying it doesn't need to be a bull rope match. We need to get Damo in a bra and panties match. See, she's covering her face because she just got a mental image.
Oh yeah, yeah. That one's not going away for a while. Thanks for that. I don't even know that Damo wouldn't be willing to do it.
You know, I honestly think he'd take a drink of his beer or take a shot and be like, "What the hell? Let's go." Rick in the chat saying both Tito and Greg went into the Hall of Fame in the 2004 class. So, you know, I was watching them, like I said, when I was young, and I've made the joke that 8-year-old me is doing backflips about this because they're going to be there live. But if you were watching wrestling during that time, if you've had the opportunity to see them wrestle, or if you've had the opportunity to see the influence they've had on the Attitude Era, even on today's wrestling, this is your opportunity to get there and to meet them, to thank them, to get a picture with them, to get an autograph. I mean, where are you ever going to find this opportunity again? I mean, I'm so about it. Rick saying that Tito is also being inducted into the WT Football Hall of Fame this year. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
That's really cool. I didn't know that either.
A WT, huge history as far as wrestling goes, and I didn't realize he was being inducted this year. That's really cool. We got Damien in the chat saying, I studied Greg and Piper for my first dog collar match. And that was the one to study. Man, oh man.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember him getting ready for that match.
Hearing about the dog collar match.
Because he knows we have collars and chain in the other room from the last time. I still have them. So I also still have a body bag.
Oh, wow. That's a little scary. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. All bucket list stuff. If the opportunity falls in front of me, I want to be prepared.
Looking over at the chat, and this is a big deal as we're coming into WrestleMania season. Tito and Greg both competing on the very first WrestleMania. So, I mean, we're at WrestleMania 40 now. So 40 years ago, these guys were in there doing it.
Yeah.
Tito opening against the Executioner. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
And I hope everybody's ready, because I went back recently. I worked on some little video clips of Greg and Tito stuff and was reminded just how stiff they were and how believable their stuff was. And I love it, and I'm here for it, and I hope everybody's ready, because that's the kind of night that it needs to be.
It is. That's the kind of night we want out of it. And again, $10.
Yeah.
Everything we just went over as far as matches, $10 to get in the door.
There is nowhere else you can be that entertained for that price tag.
No, not at all. And when I say it's entertaining, I don't know how many times I've said it, but I'll say it every show, because this is my drug. When I'm at a show, I'm waiting for the next show because I want to see what happens in this story, what happens to this match, what did this match cause? So, I mean, it's going to be that kind of show. Looking at the chat, Rick says Valentine defended the IC title against JYD. the junkyard dog. I ain't thought about him in a minute either. And Josh, you start talking about body bags and chains and collars, and Josh says that this conversation just took a weird turn.
That was why I threw in the body bag part too, because I realized saying that we had dog collars and chains probably sounded really weird. But to be fair, it is all wrestling stuff.
No, I believe you. I believe you.
I just know Gringo's going to use that against me. I just know it. But
we've got Damien in the chat saying Tito also worked the first 9 Manias. Wow. 9 times. Mania matches 9 times.
it feels like there can't be too many other people that have that high of a number. I know there's some. I'm pretty sure Taker beat that, but I don't know. There's been a lot of others that have worked that many.
J Red, my boy Cameron over in California, saying wrestling stuff. Jay Conrad said that doesn't make it any better. Rick throwing a challenge out to everyone in the chat says, can anyone name all those opponents without Google? Because he can, and I believe that. Rick is a historian like no other when it comes to wrestling.
Rick is a walking, talking wrestling encyclopedia.
He is that.
I would go to him before I went to Google.
Yeah. Rick is that's gonna he's wrestling Google. That's what I'm gonna call
Yeah.
him. If I need to know something, I'm gonna call wrestling Google. Well, bringing it back to what we have in front of us this Saturday night, the Bariqua Warfare. Do you think this is going to put an end to, maybe not to you and Gringo, I don't know, but to some of the problems that have happened, but between Charlie and Diablo and Brian and Baby, between you and Gringo, between Chris Watson and anybody that's breathing?
I don't. That last one's not happening. It's not. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Anyway.
That's okay. He'll beat up Chris Watson.
I don't know that anything will end between 50 and Brian and them, but they might be able to work enough of it out to move on moving forward. I don't know. I don't see anybody shaking hands and making up, that's for damn sure. And I don't see any way for Gringo and I to end that doesn't end up with one of us in that body bag.
So begs the question, are we bringing the body bag?
No. I mean, maybe. But no, it happened that it came up earlier, but I don't see a way. I don't see a world where we're ever on the same page, where we ever get along, where we ever don't want to, where it's not ever on site with us, because I just hate him and he hates me. And sometimes when you don't get along, the only way to handle it is to fight.
Well, anybody that's ever talked wrestling with me knows that when I talk about things, that is not a happy face right there. When I talk about things, it's they play out in my head kind of like a movie. And just to tell you the one that's running through my head, I would really like to see you take 50, knock him out, take Watson, knock him out, put him on top of 50, and then throw Gringo on top of him and tell him there's your damn sandwich. Like, I would like to see that.
I feel like I can definitely keep that in mind, and if I see the opportunity, I could make that happen. I like making sandwiches.
And if Chris Watson ends up in a body bag, I'm pretty sure the chat's okay with that. I know he is. He's good with it.
Yeah. Nobody likes Chris. Everybody hates Chris. They even made a show already.
Everybody hates Chris. They knew. They knew.
They were onto something.
Well, I know that this is going to be just absolute carnage, and I'm all about it. I cannot wait to see it. For anybody that came in late, that is this Saturday night, March 23rd, Jake's Backroom, Squared Circle Pro, Spring Break, the literal version. And I think it's going to get very literal because I think we're probably going to break some chairs, maybe break some legs. Some things are going to happen. I mean, it's going to get wild. You've got the Barika Warfare match, and that one and the No Holds Barred match are the ones I'm waiting for because there's no telling where that's going to go. He may, tell them to set the cage up early and throw them in the cage. I don't know. It's crazy.
That is the thing about spring break. It's always crazy, and you never really know what is going to happen.
Well, we didn't get a chance to make it to the last spring break. Like we started at Tornado Slam, coming to Squared Circle Pro shows, and I couldn't thank Rick more enough for allowing us to be a part of this, allowing us to be part of the Squared Circle Pro family, because that's what it is. It's a family there. And because West Texas Independent Wrestling is such a family, because it's such a close-knit community, I wanted to take just a second. I kind of mentioned this last night. Want to mention it again. Of course, one of our own, Franco D'Angelo, he's, of course, the leader of the Guerrilla Militia. Awesome guy. We've had him on the show. Great stories from him. Having a little bit of a medical problem. Spent 3 days in the hospital with blood clots in his lung. Whatever your positivity is, whether it's prayers or good vibes, good juju, whatever your positivity is, send it his way. Of course, on behalf of the podcast, we send it out there for you, man, for quick healing, for full recovery, and we can't wait to see you back in the ring. But we have come to the part of the show where I like to turn it over to our guest. So anything you want to say to your opponents, anything you want to say to the chat, to the people watching, people listening, or the wrestling world in general, the floor is all yours.
I really just want to say thank you guys. Keep supporting me, keep supporting us, and as always, support indie wrestling. Don't hesitate to ask for those pictures, those autographs. You're kind of the reason that we're there. So make it count.
No, absolutely. And when I say it's my drug, I mean it. And if you've never had the opportunity, go to this show. And I understand there's some people that are watching that are like, Guapo, I'm not in Lubbock. I'm not going to be in Lubbock. If you're in Dallas, go to a show in Dallas. If you're in Oklahoma, go to a show in Oklahoma. I don't care where you go. If you're in Lubbock, you better be at this one. I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Lillith your name. I'm just saying. But wherever you are, go check out indie wrestling because it's something. It's not what you see on TV, and that's the problem that I get from a lot of people is, well, they don't do it like they do on WWE. No, they don't, and in a whole lot of senses, they do it a lot better.
It is a different experience.
It is. It's a different experience, and you've got even Bruss has said before that he can watch WWE and okay, this person's hurt, so they're going to push this person, and it gets predictable. I've never been to a predictable indie show. I just want to throw that out there.
That is true.
Like, there's never been a time that I was like, oh, well, this is what's going to happen. And that's the rush you get from it. So wherever you're at, go check out indie wrestling. If you're in Lubbock, like I said, be at this show, or I'm giving Lillith your name. I'm going to tell her who you are.
I will fight you.
And she's going to bring Babs and introduce you. And you don't want to. We'll just go to the show. I do want to say thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody watching, everybody listening. You guys are the reason we're able to do this. Appreciate all of you so much. Again, Squared Circle Pro, Jake's Backroom, Saturday night. It's going to be awesome. If for some reason, and J-Reb, I'm saying this for you, if for some reason you can't be there because, J-Reb, he's out there trying to Texas, California, trying to give him a little bit of good sense anyway. If you're doing like Cameron and you're out of state, you can't be there, heckyeahradio.com. Go to the website, click on the Squared Circle Pro tab, and there will be a link where you can watch the show live. Like, there's no excuse for you not to watch this show. And you're going to, there's always surprises. It's going to be insane, and I cannot wait for it. And, of course, with thanking everybody, Lillith, I want to thank you for coming on the show again. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
It's
And
always a pleasure to be here.
we are looking forward to seeing what happens to Lemigra when they close the cage doors.
I promise blood and violence.
So I'm looking at the chat, and this is what I was just about to say. Rick saying in the chat, he's on tomorrow night. Everyone turn out. I have stuff to dish about. Okay, so there you have. You've been told right now. There's going to be some things on tomorrow night's show. So make sure you're there for that one. Tomorrow night, we're on with Rick Elsie. We'll run the whole card, and it's going to be the last thing before the show. So you never know what Rick's going to throw out there for everybody. So be here 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Until then, I'm Guapo. He's Chunk. That's the OTB Lillith the Blood, and we are not your average marks. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Yeah.